title of this presentation, as you can see, is how we've been teaching, training over 500 professionals in generative AI for the last 18 months. In AI timescales, everything goes fast, so it's already 600, right? So everything goes very, very fast. I'm Carlos Angeles. Yeah, I'm named like the city of Los Angeles, but I'm here in San Francisco. I prefer it, by the way. I'm an engineer myself in my background, but very soon I started not developing technology, but selling technology. And I've been selling cutting-edge technology for the last 25 years. And the winner strategy to sell this cutting-edge technology was being able to explain in very simple words how it worked. So customers we could be able to trust, to build a trusting relationship with them. So, finally someone is explaining me how it works, so you will have the order, right? So I was successful in that, and ultimately I found out that that's my superpower, explaining very complex things in a very easy way, and using that I've been selling training for the AI generative for the last 18 months, pretty much when it just appeared. Why this talk is interesting for you? Well, it's my educated guess. I would say you are not into the sales, right? You are into the, product management or product development or marketeers, all right? But what we found out in all this generative AI space, teaching people that were out of this bubble, because this is a bubble, right? People out there, they're not aware of what's going on. Well, number one is AI is everywhere, okay? It's just everywhere. People just, they hear about this, nobody knows anything, but it's just the buzzword and the hype, okay? The second thing is that we were teaching real people. We were exposing this to real people who are not developers, who are not tech people. Actually, the lessons we took after this ride were that we were teaching fishing companies, insurance companies, even aluminum factories, so people who are nothing about tech. And we were getting so interesting insights about how they were exposed to this AI that we are inventing here. There are 7 lessons that we learned about this, and I'm going to share with you now. Lesson number 1 is, well, AI will not do anything until we ask, all right? And to be honest, we've been asking in the last years. Now we are going to ask to someone else. But the point is, we don't ask really well. And that's a real example. One of our students was saying, okay, I want a picture of this Mother Teresa of Calcutta fighting poverty, and you can see that she's fighting poverty with Kung Fu, right? And then this lady said, that's not what I meant. Yeah, but that's what you asked. So the point is, we start our lives asking a lot, and for some reason we just stop asking. Why is that? Any guess? Because we all had the same experience. The point is, we forgot to ask because we've been trained to answer. All our education system for decades is they teach you to answer questions. Tests are answer these questions. So we forget to ask. We are not wired to ask anymore. And the better you ask, the better outcome you will have from AI generative, right? So we forgot to ask. That's the first insight. People find out they ask very poorly. Second lesson, you don't learn AI alone. Basically, this is what we found from our students, more than 600 now, before our training. Nobody is really using this. Most of the people, they haven't used it, or they abandon very quickly, okay? And we're talking about people from all sorts of ages, all sorts of countries and continents. So basically, what we find is, if you learn AI together with a community, you will share the good and the bad. And then this will boost your learnings, okay? So creating a community is always the best way to teach and learn AI. Next lesson. Lesson 3 was, well, we always ask this question at the beginning of the training. So what AI cannot do? And I would tell you, like 99% of people would say, well, AI cannot be human. It cannot deliver empathy. And look at this. After the training, just, some outcasts, but most of them say, no. Of course AI can command emotion and empathy. And this is a real example. This is a paper with 1,000 patients being diagnosed and communicating, comparing a human MD with ChatGPT. So on the graphic on your left, you can see how accurate was the diagnosis. On the graphic on your right, you can see how empathetic the patient felt both were. And you know what? Generative AI was winning by storm, okay? So people really perceive AI very empathetic. Of course, AI cannot have a bad day, or you will not fight with your family, all right? So you will not be, inside a traffic jam. So this empathy could be boosted. The next lesson is very funny, which is, and something, my previous speaker was saying something about this, okay? So we believe just because it's so intelligent, we can just write anything like this. And we are going there. We all know we're going there, but we are not there yet. So one of the key points on the learning curve on this Gen AI is start simple. Have your task and just take bit by bit. There is no perfect prompt. It's a conversation. You have a conversation with AI. Just you command the conversation. You drive the conversation, and you just use AI to reach valuable outcomes. So it's not asking, it's just asking several times until you reach your value. The learning steps, naturally, and I believe even you were living in this scenario. Well, number one, when you found Gen AI, it has the wow factor, like, wow, look at this, okay? The second step is you fear this, like, oh, this could take my job, okay? Because it's as good as I am without all the, background and experience that I needed to become this good. And during our trainings, it was funny because we started training the individual contributors. And later on, we were training the middle management. So in the gap between training all these individual contributors and not teaching the middle management, everybody was using this clandestine, like, don't tell my boss I'm using this. I don't want my boss to find out that a task that before took me 5 hours, I can do it in 5 minutes. Don't tell him, don't tell her. And this is over when that management knows about AI, all right? So, now it's a requirement. Now you can use AI. I want this done by this afternoon, not 3 days from now, okay? So, the whole thing is driving a transformation, how we work, how we deliver, how we produce. And this is a very deep, deep transformation. I would say, in a very short time, you will not hire anyone without the knowledge of using generative AI. You would not hire anybody who doesn't use a mouse or cannot send one email, right? So this will become very soon a requirement for being hired. Lesson 5. Well, lesson 5 is quite funny because you start teaching AI, but you spark other things. So basically, AI is ask. If you don't get your result, maybe you're asking wrongly. Ask again. So can you imagine having a full team of people not fearing asking badly and trying again? This is the spark of a change of a mindset. So basically, you learn for the good trials, and you also learn from the mistakes. And you share them in the community, because as we told before, you learn this in a community. So you share what's going well, what's going badly, and we all learn together. We are fearless of mistakes. And this is amazing, because if you are not ready to be wrong, you cannot be creative. And this is boosting creativity. We all could be creative with AI. Do you think you are not creative? Yes, you are. And with the help with AI, you can just wake it up. And the funny thing is, managers, top managers, are not ready for this. They must adapt to have teams being creative and proactive. And, I would say generative AI ready, okay? Lesson 6, only 2 to go. Well, in the beginning, we all start with efficiency, If you ask why you are using AI, what is the cool thing about learning AI? Well, let me say this. This is a small confession. I'm driving places, and I have my, Maps app on. Anybody of you do that? Who's going driving to your place and you're using your app? You know the right, you know the road, you know the way, but you still have it there. Why is that? Because, technology keeps us company. Used to be, like the radio or TV, social media, and now your best companion is going to be AI. Because all of these things, because it's everywhere, because it's useful, because it's available. So in our trainings, we found out something. People step into the AI world for efficiency. Just do the same thing, only better. Better, faster. But ultimately, they found out something amazing. This is just the first step. The real value of AI is doing new stuff, unthinkable without AI. Just doing the same stuff, that's not the extra mile. You will not be different. You have to do new things that only with AI are possible. And that's the real value. I don't want to do the same things instead of 10 hours in 1 hour. I want to do new things, because that is being ahead of my competition. You are also waking up these questions, like, what can I do? What am I not asking to this thing? Because maybe the things that I'm not asking is the real value. So this mindset of experimenting, asking new things, is something that you spark on everybody in the team, okay? And basically, if you revisit my last slide, you can also group those things in the efficiency and the creating value category, okay? My last lesson is about something that we fear. We fear that we will lose our humanity. AI will take over, control decisions, and I totally disagree. And I have proof of this because this happened before. So let me share an example with you. We've been going through many tech revolutions. I'm old enough. I've been outliving all these revolutions, okay? So basically, for the first time, the thing obsolete is going to be people and roles, not tasks. That's why we fear this. And also this happened before. Real example. Imagine you are a portrait painter 300 years ago. Someone's hiring you to just paint a picture of someone. That takes time. Only wealthy people could do it. There's no filters, like this wrinkle, and difficult to copy. And then suddenly you have this. And look at the change. What would you choose? And you are the painter. Panic. So what are you going to do when you are no longer needed for portraits? And you know what happened? Happened this. Artists did not have to paint what they have in front of their very eyes. they could paint what they felt about what they have before them. So these boosted the creativity and all the artistic movements in the last 130 years, just because they were not needed to take pictures of people. So what is going to happen for us when we don't have to make the work of AI? So that's what we want. And ultimately, my conclusion is, unexpectedly, AI allows us to be more human than ever. If we head for the creativity, the dreams, and to have a proper and sensible conversation with generative AI. Let me finish with more credits. I can have only 60 or 70% credit of this deck because, AI was helping me on this, but still 2/3 was my credit, okay? Thank you very much. The most amazing thing about generative AI is what is one of the latest technologies showing up and how transversal it is. I mean, people of all ages, of all countries, of all languages started using it. And we have this anecdote of, actually, it was the father of one of our co-founders. And for her birthday, her father was giving her like a poem. And she said, "Oh, Dad, thanks so much. That's so sweet from you." And her father told him, "Well, you know what? I've been using this thing online to write this poem. It's called ChatGPT." And then she said, "Yeah, I know. I'm into that. And do you know that besides poems, you can then write also and generate tales for your grandchildren. So every night you can just explain a different tale." And he goes, "What? I can just write different tales for my grandchildren, different every night?" "Yeah." And his comment was, How long have you known about this and you did not tell me? I'm really upset. I want to know this now." And he's a 75-year-old man. 75 years old. So how useful is this? How profound and deep is going to change this all of our lives, not only our works, okay? So basically the name of our company, which is IA that means AI now, because really the outcome of everything we do now is everybody says, "I want to learn this now. I want my team to know this now. I want this now because tomorrow might be late." I remember this, just regarding your comment. When I was in college, it was long time back in the day, long time ago, and calculators were banned. You couldn't bring the calculator to do the exam. You have to make all the calculation in your mind, okay? That was yesterday. So that was, I don't know, that was a bit ridiculous because you are an engineer and you just use your calculator. And the value of this is that you interpret the numbers and you just know how to calculate and just put some good science in this with common sense, right? So I'm not concerned about IQ of people. It's just, I think we have to use the calculator of the 21st century, which is this. And I sometimes wonder if Mozart was alive today, which kind of music he would compose, because he's a genius, right? But with other tools, you just get 1 mile further. So this is a tool for smart people to excel and for regular people to improve dramatically. Sometimes I say, imagine everybody in your team is an A player, all of them, thanks to AI. Once they're trained and they know how to use it, they will outperform themselves 2 months later, 2 months ago. So how do you manage a team of 8 players? All of them. So I'm not concerned about IQs. I'm concerned about how organizations and management will have to change after everybody knows about this. Well, basically, this is empowering people. You can do better, you can do more sophisticated, you can consider more factors. You just need to make the right questions. And let me tell you this. Maybe the right questions are not formulated by the top guys. Maybe somebody else in the team is the one making the right questions. So this is empowering people to just outperform the whole thing and transform the business and creating more value. So open this to everybody, because maybe the guys making the best questions are not in the spotlight. It needs a dynamic answer, because every 10 weeks we change the whole training, it's just horrible. You cannot teach the same every 3 months. You have to just remake everything because everything's changing so fast. So basically, we've been in the last years visiting different ways of creating value. You name it, design thinking, Scrum, Agile, a lot of things, just to be faster, be leaner, just to time to market to be really, really agile. And you know what? Yet, you can use some templates, some patterns. You can teach, you can learn everything. There's a technique for everything. So you can find out a template of thinking out of the box. And then you have your buddy, which is generative AI. So basically, it's an ongoing conversation 24/7 with that thing. So when we do this in these trainings, we find out people just name ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or Copilot with human names. Let me ask Henry. Who's Henry? Well, this thing, I speak with him or with her. So basically, it's a mindset of how you ask out of the box. And yes, I think it could be transferred and taught.
We're all blown away by the result of the thing, but we only kind of know where we grew up and what the normal problems of the world are. Can this help us really truly ask new questions in a new way? Like, what's a good example of that? All I see is a lot of business applications that are making things 10 times faster.
Yeah. Well, just as a final comment, I would say that if generative AI is good at something, it's connecting dots that we cannot figure out. So sometimes what we do is we ask people, just ask ChatGPT or any of them, ask what it would do with this. How will you connect the dots that I'm not seeing? And the answers are remarkable. So just ask him or her to start the conversation with you, like have a dialogue back, okay? Well, even me, I'm referring as him or her, so go figure if I speak with that thing every day. Well, there might be many reasons, okay? I know the reasons in positive, like why they do that. Some of them is just for the hype, like, well, AI, everybody talks about that, so let's train our people about this, okay? Of course, you have some ambassadors, some change agents inside your organizations, and some stoppers. I would say security, cybersecurity, privacy. Those are stoppers that should be managed with every single organization, okay? But I would say how useful it is, how valuable for new strategies for your company and creating value for your business, that outweighs a lot all the other risks. And at some point, I would say the most difficult conversation is always with the top managers who don't understand that not going into generative AI as soon as they can will leave them out of the game very soon.